Hello, my fellow peeps, and welcome to the Season 4 premiere of my Salute House show. So, now that we got that fucking Rant House shit done just for this week, looks like we're gonna have to get our hopes up by saluting on something that I like. And I wonder if you do like the same shit that I like, but if not, well, that's alright. So anyway, peeps, on with the show. Alright, peeps, so here is two segments, which is another double Salute House installment for this week. So the first segment is going to be Miss Pac-Man, how she stopped sexism in gaming history. And the second segment is a heavy metal band from New York City, that is White Zombie. Yep, the band that formed in 1985 and officially disbanded the year I was born, yeah, in 1998. Alright, peeps, let's get on with this shit. Alright, Miss Pac-Man is a 1982 maze arcade video game developed by General Computer Corporation and published by Midway. It is the first sequel to Pac-Man, and the first entry in the series not to be made by Namco. Well, Miss Pac-Man sure is mentioned in Namco Museum releases. Controlling the title character, Miss Pac-Man, that is the wife of Pac-Man, the player is tasked with eating all the pellets in an enclosed maze while avoiding four colored ghosts. Eating the larger power pellets lets the player eat the ghost, whom turn blue, white, and now flee. Okay. So, let's see how this goes. Alright, the gameplay is very similar to that of Pac-Man. The player earns points by eating pellets and avoiding ghosts. Contact with one causes Miss Pac-Man, to lose a life. Eating an energizer or power pellet causes the ghost to turn blue and white, flashing blue and white, allowing them to be eaten for extra points. Bonus fruits can be eaten for increasing point values. Twice per round. As the rounds increase, the speed increases, and energizers generally lessen the duration of Ghost's vulnerability, eventually stopping altogether. Oh shit! Looks like we're in for some challenging right now, do we? Okay, so what do we gotta see? So the release of this arcade game was released back in January 13th, 1982 in North America. One or two players alternating turns. So it's a single player, so two people are going to have to take turns with the machine. So the difference is from the original Pac-Man, the game has four mazes that appear in different color schemes and alternate power after each of the game's intermissions are seen. The pink maze appears in levels 1 and 2. The light blue maze appears in levels 3, 4, and 5. The brown maze appears in levels 6 to 9. 6 to 9, or 69. And a dark blue maze appears in level 10 to 14. After level 14, the maze configurations alternate every fourth level. So the first, second, and fourth mazes have two sets of warp tunnels. The walls have a solid color rather than an outline. The ghost behavioral patterns are different. Instead of appearing in the center of the maze, the fruits bounce around the maze. So you better hurry up to get the fucking cherry or other fruit that you see, because if not, oh well. The orange ghost is called Sue rather than Clyde. When Miss Pac-Man makes contact with a ghost and dies, she spins around. Three intermissions follow developing relationship between the original and Miss Pac-Man. And the slowdown applied to the ghost in the warp tunnels. And the sound effects and music are all new. Yeah, I see that. I've noticed that almost every Miss Pac-Man release of the ports, it's just as good as it gets on the original version, especially the Nintendo. But the Atari 2600 version that I know is glitched out for some reason. Wait a minute, I must have been thinking about the original Pac-Man. Well, shit. So, Ms. Pac-Man was acclaimed by critics for its improvements to the original gameplay and for having a female protagonist. Some have described it as superior to Pac-Man. It has been listed among the greatest video games of all time and as one of the most successful American arcade games ever made. The game's success inspired a variety of successful merchandise, several ports for numerous home consoles and handheld systems, a television cartoon that included Pac-Man, and numerous video game sequels and remakes that spawned a Ms. Pac-Man video game spin-off series. Yep, especially that 2000 game release of Ms. Pac-Man. Maze Madness for the Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, Game Boy Color, and the fucking Dreamcast. Oh, I noticed that the Game Boy Advance... I'm sorry, Game Boy Advance, not Color. But the Game Boy Advance... What? Yet that GBA version was never released until November 3rd, 2004. Okay, the rights to the game are owned by Namco's successor company, Bandai Namco Entertainment. However, the game and its title character have suffered various legal ownership issues between Namco and General Computer Corporation. Well, other than that, it was a very fun game during that time. Alright, my fellow peeps. Here's the second segment, White Zombie, a heavy metal band formed in 1985, based in New York City. They started as a noise rock band, releasing 3 extended plays and 1 studio album in that style before changing into a heavy metal oriented sound that broke them into the mainstream. The albums La Sexorcisto, Devil Music Volume 1, and Astro Creep 2000 established them as an influential act in groove metal and industrial metal, respectively. Their best-known songs include Thunder Kiss 65, Black Sunshine, and More Human Than Human. The group officially disbanded in 1998. In 2000, White Zombie was included on VH1's 100 Greatest Artists of Rock, ranking at number 56. Lucky them. Okay, so... White Zombie was co-founded by Rob Zombie, after coming up with the band idea in 1985 while attending Parsons School of Design in his junior year. Okay, he named the band after a 1932 horror movie starring Bela Lugosi called White Zombie. Considered the first true zombie movie, the movie title was also the source for Rob Zombie's stage name. He was born Robert Cummings. His girlfriend at the time, Shawn Yseult, was the co-founder. She had been playing the Farfisa keyboard in the band Life with Ivan D. Prum. But the band soon broke up. Ina Kostabi owned a recording studio, which he would rent out to different bands. When he met Shawn, she asked if he could teach her how to play bass. They then recruited Peter Landau to play drums and began to write and record songs. White Zombie's first release, Gods on Voodoo Moon. It was an EP and was recorded on October 18th, 1985. It was released under the band's label Silent Explosion, and 2 additional tracks, Black Friday and Dead or Alive, were never mentioned in the vinyl releases, only on cassette. And it was never mentioned in the CD releases until their second box set. It came from New York City. And in 1986, they made their live performance debut at CBGB on April 28th, 1986, and started touring. White Zombie released their second extended play, Pig Heaven, that year. Yep, just 2 songs. 4 songs were never referred to until their second box set. Once again, it came from New York City. Okay, so what do I gotta say about their noise rock? Well, I gotta say, I first time listened to their first 2 extended plays, and I gotta say, it really blew my fucking mind. It just blew my mind because of how Rob Zombie just sang. And when he first time sang, it's like a spoken word, a heavy metal edition / early type of groove metal. So yeah, I remember listening to their early music, and I really fucking loved it. Makes me want to wish that I would either get Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, or it came from New York City, either way. Their noise rock years just continued from 1987 until 88 or 89. Yeah, they released their third extended play, Psycho Head Blowout, and then the same year, Soul Crusher. In 1988, the band signed to Caroline Records, permanently discontinuing their own indie label. And then February 1989, Make Them Die Slowly really changed the fluences of White Zombie and maybe the rest of their band, by making their music a lot more heavier than last time. It was a musical shift for the band, and it has demonstrably more of a heavy metal sound. This is also the first album crediting Rob Zombie instead of his previous stage name, Rob Dirt Stracker. And then 1992, they released La Sexorcisto Devil Music Volume 1, which make them gain more popularity. Yep. 2.5 years, they started touring with Pantera, Danzig, Testament, Megadeth, Sepultura, Suicidal Tendencies, Anthrax, etc. Yeah, and they even mentioned, one of the music videos of this album was mentioned in one of the episodes of Beavis and Butthead. Can't wait to salute on those another time. Those guys. And yeah, their final album, Astro Creep 2000, which featured a more industrial sound and included the hit single More Human Than Human. The album was another success for the band, debuting at number 6 on the Billboard 200, White Zombie's highest ever chart position, and within a year after its release, it was certified double platinum by the RIAA. To support Astro Creep 2000, the band toured non-stop for approximately 15 months, playing with a wide variety of acts such as Metallica, Soundgarden, the Ramones, the Melvins, Reverend Horton Heat, and so on. And after so, what stops here? The fucking breakup. Yeah, that really breaks my heart just to take a look at that. Well, at least Rob Zombie kept on going with his first 2 solo albums, Hell Billy Deluxe in 1998 and The Sinister Urge back in 2001. Well, maybe I'll get to his solo band another time. So in conclusion, my fellow peeps, I recommend Miss Pac-Man, especially that 2000 release on PlayStation, because she really stopped sexism in gaming history, which is a good thing. And I also recommend White Zombie, especially listening to one of their box sets, with the complete discographies. Both medias that I mentioned are worth every fucking minute, and I like that shit. Yeah.